I grew up with very, very, very loving parents. They were equal in their responsibility in raising us kids. I grew up in the second of 6 kids. They shared responsibilities. My dad played with us. My mom read to us. They both shared household tasks and chores. And so, additionally, they were very strong in our faith, in the Mormon faith. And so I grew up with that strong, loving, familial background. But in addition to that, I can remember since I was about 8 or 9 feeling, now I look back and I qualify them as same-sex attraction. But back then, considering the fact that my upbringing was particularly conservative, with the underlying philosophy and idea that anything related to homosexuality was a choice, it wasn't even something that I could comprehend. And so while growing up, I was very good at categorizing and delaying. So when I was young, I really thought that I was just super envious of other guys, of just multiple qualities about them. And then as I got older, I would be able to rationalize my lack of attraction to girls by delaying. For example, I didn't need to worry about it because I still needed to serve a mission. I didn't need to worry about it because I still needed to graduate from BYU. I didn't need to worry about it because I still needed to graduate from grad school. And so it wasn't until after I graduated from grad school and started working that there was no more delaying. I could not continue to categorize it as a deep-seated envy and the fact that I just hadn't met the right girl yet, particularly considering the many, many, many brilliant and spectacular women that I'd met at BYU and at grad school. And so, looking back, I was very fortunate in that I did not experience the additional turmoil. The angst came later when I realized that I wasn't lusting after my neighbor's wife, I was just coveting his ass. So, I did date. I did not pursue them very much, and so particularly at BYU, I did go on dates a lot, but it didn't go very long, didn't last very long, just because I wasn't interested. It was pleasant, it was enjoyable, I enjoyed their company, but I didn't pursue them. And so currently, my dating is infrequent, and I try to make things as neutral as possible because I do not want to send mixed signals, particularly considering the fact that Mormon women have the worst gaydar in the world. I did serve a mission. I served a mission in Eastern Europe, and I would not trade those experiences for anything. It was a time of great education for me. I learned to love the uplifting elements of the gospel. I learned truly to love the members and their earnest efforts in a developing situation. And I also learned to love the people in that area. I experienced so many acts of just human kindness, often from people that were not at all interested in religion, simply interested in helping their fellow man. It was a spectacular, wonderful experience. I have told a few close friends, mission companions, my mission president and his wife, and some others, and so far the support has been overwhelming, which is more than I could ask for. But considering the fact that my parents are particularly conservative, I know that I shouldn't put on or put to them any sort of reaction, but honestly, I feel that they would practically call in Max von Sydow and schedule an exorcism on me. Honestly, I don't know. They're very loving, but I do not know what their reaction would be. And so eventually I will, because eventually it'll come to a head. But I am planning on, through the years, telling each of my siblings individually, according to how I feel their levels of understanding are on the subject. And when I feel appropriate, telling my parents and telling other people that I know and love and care about. When I first came to the realization, I initially started researching like crazy. I had a class from Dr. Bradshaw at BYU, a scientist well-versed in the area surrounding this issue. And so I went online and listened to some of his presentations on the subject. I read as many scientific papers I could on both the biologic basis and reparative therapy methods and success rates. Concerning my background is in biology, as a result of that, I have not sought after any of the reparative therapy methods, and additionally, I did not go to any church leaders for guidance on this issue, considering the fact that many of them still believe a lot of misconceptions about this. I did not need an ecclesiastical leader telling me, or a reparative therapy group telling me, that my faith was not strong enough, or that I was not invoking enough the atonement of Jesus Christ in overcoming this issue. And along with that, I researched as much as I could all the statements about homosexuality that the church has given, both current and historical. And frankly, a lot of them were disappointing, and some of them even emotionally disturbing. And so that added to the turmoil, that added to the lack of understanding, the lack of the ability to reconcile the two halves into functioning whole of a person. I try to be positive. I try to have hope that, number one, the church will continue, and the leaders of the church particularly, to seek further light and knowledge on this issue. If you evaluate historical comments by church leaders, it becomes very apparent that although the Lord can and does influence and enlighten and increase their understanding and intelligence, they are not perfect, and none of us have a perfect understanding of anything in this world. And so I hope that continued statements that decry violence, that denounce any type of rejection of this continue. And I hope the church also, and this is being very honest, I hope they eliminate any implicit understanding that there is a choice involved in this. I have to tell you, I did not choose this. I never have chosen this. It is logically absurd for me to choose an existence that is potentially difficult, potentially excruciating. And so I hope that the church eliminates that implicit understanding along with the implicit request, requirement, and exhortation for people to change. While I appreciate the possibility that some people may experience changes in their sexuality, I don't believe that it is an appropriate stance for the whole, for everyone. I still feel that I'm on a path of attempting to reconcile my feelings and my understanding of the doctrine of the gospel, of the doctrine of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It has been excruciating, to be perfectly explicit. I still attend church regularly. I attend Institute as well. But the messages there, while I support wholeheartedly the focus on the family and the support of the family, each week hearing that reopens deep wounds with the feeling that somehow my existence here is inherently wrong. And so that becomes a difficult situation. Church, instead of a place of solace, a balm of Gilead, or a place where I can turn to for peace, almost becomes a masochistic exercise in endurance. How long can I handle the weekly reminders of unanswered, personal, doctrinal questions? I still don't have a lot of the answers. Existing within both spheres is a exceptionally difficult balancing act. Each week at church, I feel like I'm watching a play. I feel like everyone else within the church, within the organization, the other members, are existing within a play, and their statements make sense on stage, but they don't realize that there are other people watching them, where their limited and conservative rules don't necessarily apply. And so it just is a very pointed reminder of how I'm an outsider and how I don't have answers to these questions that have just been agonizing within me for such a long time. I choose to be Mormon because there is truth in it. I am grateful for so much that I've been given growing up within this context, within this sphere, within this faith. I appreciate and recognize, particularly on my mission, the benefit of the uplifting elements of the gospel of Jesus Christ, and so I can't completely turn my back on that. Some people would criticize and say, you need to cut off one or the other, but I cannot. I cannot eliminate my faith, and I cannot eliminate how I feel. Where would I like to be? I would love, honestly, I would love not to have this be an issue. I know some people will criticize me for saying that, but it would make life considerably easier, in my opinion, not to have to be concerned about not being accepted by my church, by the government, or even by my family. And so it definitely is a difficult journey, and honestly, I don't know where it will take me. Currently, I am celibate and frustrated, but that is religiously as well as emotionally, and of course by default sexually frustrated. And so honestly, I don't know how long I can maintain that. I'm using up what I feel are energy reserves just existing. And so from a long-term perspective, I don't know how much longer I can maintain that. Today, I still try to live as best I can and just make the best choices that I can. But honestly, I don't know what tomorrow will hold.